Warhammer is a unique and rich setting that can appeal to pretty much anyone, with the fantasy of Middle Earth, Old World, and Age of Sigmar, and then there's the grimdark sci-fi of the Horus Heresy and 40k that we all know and love. These settings have a storied history of fans in GW letting their creativity run wild. But nowadays, in regards to GW, it kinda feels like that creativity is being lost to some degree due to them being lazy, greedy, or just losing sight of who they once were. So let's talk about it. But welcome back everyone, it's me the Warhammer complainy guy, Revan/Handy, destroyer of wallets and maker of terrible financial decisions. Now, I would say it's time to rism with the weaponized ism, but this isn't the video for that. Now, I know this video is going to be a bit controversial and might not do well in the algorithm since that sometimes happens no matter how much hard work you put into a video. But hear me out before you go say something stupid in the comments. I'm making this video because of GW's recent f***ups and a long list of them. I wanted to talk about how I feel like GW is slowly losing sight of who they once were, which was a company that encouraged thinking outside of the box when making your own army, and how we the fans are slowly starting to pick up GW slack with our own creativity from kit bashing or the advent of what everyone never shuts up about, 3D printing. Since some of the designs of their own miniatures these past few years have been lacking because honestly some of them are downgrades from their previous incarnations. Or you can easily tell they just reused CAD models and slapped on a new coat of paint, which kinda feels lazy. So I'm kinda worried about the miniature updates because for some reason what once made an older miniature so iconic didn't really carry over to their newer miniatures. Also, since I just mentioned 3D printing, I wanted to give a shout out to the Wargamer charity drive being run by Game Therapy UK, and yes, that's 3D printed. So for those of you that have been watching this channel for a while, or just recently from my Warhammer on Autism video, I have shared that I have high functioning autism, more specifically Asperger's, along with muscular dystrophy, so this honestly feels right to me. If you have some old, unassembled, or unpainted miniatures you know you'll never get to, or just want to donate hobby supplies like scenery, dice, paints, and brushes, think about donating them to this good cause to help use miniature games as socialization therapy with various groups that have autism, physical disabilities like muscular dystrophy, or children with chronic diseases. Just follow the instructions I have posted in the description. Also, I know this is halfway through the month, but from between now and when this video gets posted and February 28th, you can donate to this good cause. But first, let's get GW's recent f*** up out of the way. Armies on Parade, for those that are new to Warhammer, or this video just showed up in your recommended feed, is a competition where Warhammer players or collectors from all around the world get to flex their painting and hobby skills, with 2 of these categories being for the individual. Solo Entrant, which just means it's your army that's doing all the heavy lifting, so no terrain, just a flat display board. So this would probably be the category I would enter since I spend way too much time making even the most basic miniatures look like an HQ. Then there's Armies on Terrain, formerly known as the display category. This is the category everyone thinks of when we think Armies on Parade, where you the player or painter, I know not everyone plays Warhammer, creates a thematic display board that showcases your skills not only as a painter, but also as a hobbyist. So you have to create a display board that not only showcases your army, but now you also have to show that you have the skills to create a board that fits with the theme of your army. Since painting miniatures is not the only criteria for this category, which is why I'll probably never get to enter Armies on Parade. But if I were to create a display board for my Custodes, I would try and make it look like the dark cells beneath the palace, or for my Dark Angels, since I paint them in Horus Heresy colors and I like the Dreadwing, my display board would be a city in ruin because the Dreadwing is the War Crimes division of the Dark Angels. But now that you know what Armies on Parade is, it's time to get to the massive f*** up, which is that the army must not mix GW settings. And I think you can see why this might be a huge problem. And of course, in typical GW fashion, they backpedaled with an FAQ like they usually do for their horribly written codexes as of late. So as you can imagine, this pissed off a lot, and I mean a lot of people. Because in Warhammer, to make our armies unique from everyone else's, we like to do what is called conversions or kit bashing, which is taking one or more Warhammer kits or the random crap we have lying around and combining them to create something new and unique. Like this Talon Master and Samael using Custodes jet bikes and the extra Ravenwing Marines I had lying around, or this Tiberos the Redwake kit bash that I'm totally not salty about, because I spent 60 hours total on this thing only for GW to throw him into Legends and making it so I can't even use him as a Captain and Terminator armor anymore, since for some reason Captains can't take Lightning Claws. So that 1000-point Carcharodon's army I wanted to make will never see the light of day. But nah, I'm still totally not salty about it even a year and a half later. So you can imagine what happened when people who made their armies using kits from different settings felt when this was announced. So thankfully GW realized they f***ed up and issued an FAQ clarification with the TLDR of, we're sorry we made an oopsie. You can still kit bash and make conversions for your armies on parade, just don't be lazy and have a plain Norn emissary or Lionel Johnson run next to things like the Fat Frog or the Bone Boys. Also, for the fantasy players, I know you thought that Middle Earth terrain would look great with your Age of Sigmar army, so f you and your board, you're disqualified because we said so. Yes, Orc players, sucks to suck. You can only use stuff that we make even though this completely goes against everything we know about the Orcs. Oh, and also you're still not allowed to use 3D printed bits for your armies. PSS, we're also going to be increasing the prices again sometime this year, so get f***ed, loser. Love GW. So for those of you that are entering armies on parade, good luck to you. And if you are entering, you should join my Discord server so I can live vicariously through you since I can never paint my shit in a timely manner. Also, stop asking about the Warlord Titan, I'll get to it eventually. But if we talk about the most well-known and prominent example of GW's creativity, if we look to the past, in some of the old White Dwarf magazines, GW encouraged everyone to make their own models, like the famous Deodorant Stick Landspeeder. It's almost like GW was trying to tell people something still relevant today. This was a simple yet easy model to make. All you needed was a deodorant stick and some various bits and greeblies from your collection to turn the humble deodorant stick that I know a lot of tournament players could use. This is and always will be the prime example of the creativity of Warhammer, because even today, people are still making them for shits and giggles. But anyways, it's that time again. That's right, it's time for some audience interaction to help boost it to the almighty YouTube algorithm. So maybe drop a like and subscribe please, because your support and engagement for this elaborate post of a channel only helps it grow to reach more Warhammer and Battletech fans. Also, this is just a reminder that the subscriber goal vote is still ongoing in the community tab, so go vote for what destroys my wallet this year. Voting ends on March 1st, and so far it looks like I'm going to be getting a town hour. But let me know in the comments down below, what are your thoughts on the recent Armies on Parade changes, and also how creativity seems to be dying to some degree in Warhammer thanks in part to GW? Or do you have any cool kit bashes or conversions you're working on? So with that out of the way, I feel like this also needs to be said. If we compare 40k to Sigmar, the designs are starting to be severely lacking in 40k. While I for the most part love 40k, a lot of the new releases are not really doing it for me. Well, the Space Marine ones to be more specific. They honestly feel so generic, even some of the faction specific ones. Take for instance the new Sanguinary Guard or pretty much any new Space Marine. It kind of feels like they lost some of the unique charm that everyone loved about them. I feel like with each year that passes, GW gets even more greedy, and because of this, in relation to model design for 40k, it feels like corners are being cut just to get the models out the door. Since 40k is their flagship game, and GW actually funds a significant portion of the UK's economy, if you don't believe me, go Google it. If I remember correctly, they actually generate more revenue for the UK than the UK's fishing industry. This is also one of the reasons Forge World keeps getting so many cool and unique miniatures, since more time and effort is spent on making them. So they also unfortunately come at a serious premium, which obviously hasn't stopped me before, although it kinda is now more than ever. But back to Sigmar, I mean, look at these miniatures. Oh my god, he's so goddamn cool! Why can't we get cool stuff like this in 40k more often? I mean, even some of the more recent Necromunda releases make me want to buy a few to paint, because right now in 40k there's nothing really that matches my rule of cool. If I'm gonna be honest, I feel like if 40k or Horus Heresy had more cool minis like this, we would be seeing a lot more hype during reveal streams. 9th edition honestly felt more hype in terms of reveals, but now with that out of the way, how are the fans picking up the slack? Well, the most obvious answer is making their own miniatures now that 3D printing is just getting so damn good. I mean, look how clean some of these Warframe miniatures that got sent by Digital Extremes are. I of course still need to paint them, thanks Centurions, or this Tyberos the Red Wake proxy by Atlan Forge, or even these Battletech miniatures. There's also third-party miniatures of characters that GW refuses to make or update that we know of, but man has 3D printing just gotten so good. I really wish I had the space for a 3D printer, or just that my family would let me set one up in the garage, because there are just so many things I would print, like bits for my Dark Angels, because my god are there so many awesome upgrade bits floating around right now on the internet. There are even these themed upgrade kits for Rhinos and Land Raiders for specific Space Marine chapters. Another cool thing is that as a Titan owner, and it seems like GW GW has no plans to make more weapons for them even though they do for Imperialis, there are a lot of files online for different weapons and alternative heads. Can you say 28mm Side Titan or War Master Titan? Come to think of it, if I were to get a War Master, where the hell would I even store that thing if I printed one? I'll figure that out if I ever get to that point. I also wouldn't just be printing Warhammer. I know a lot, and I mean a lot of people ask me about Trench Crusade, and I'm gonna answer so everyone stops asking. I for one think it's very cool. The grimdark aspect in some of the miniatures have been catching my fancy, but I don't need another miniature war game to collect, even though Gundam Assemble is on the list of miniature games I need to get, along with the He-Man game, which has just recently been brought to my attention. And then there's also Blackout, which is a Titanfall offshoot. I for sure would also be printing a ton of model railroad stuff too, because that's my other addiction. But as I mentioned earlier, with the whole Armies on Parade up, kit bashing has been a cornerstone of Warhammer since its inception. I myself have done multiple kit bashes and conversions over the years, my most recent one being the Skeletor Master of Possession I'm currently working on, and the one I'm most proud of, my Tyberos the Red Wake kit bash. There are so many amazing kit bashes and conversions I've seen made over the years, and it's honestly one of the reasons I think Warhammer has such an artistic community. We all want our armies to be unique and stand out from everyone else's army. So we think of creative ways to do it, like taking bits from multiple kits to make a new demon prince, or making our own miniatures that GW refuses to update anytime soon. Unless of course it gets thrown into Legends. Just randomly surfing the Warhammer subreddits, I get inspired and want to make my own custom miniatures using the various bits I have lying around, or I just think it'd be a fun challenge to try and replicate what someone else has already made. So I honestly think even with what feels like GW slowly killing creativity in some of their own miniature lines, be it the simplification of 40k and Horus Heresy, or just not putting in the effort to make something amazing like the Sigmar design team does. But in the end, we the fans will always pick up the slack and make something amazing. Anyways, thanks for watching the video, and a huge thank you to the GIGAist of the Chads right here, the Cuscodian Guard, keepers of the Costco hot dogs, aka the channel members and Twitch subscribers. Don't forget all the basic YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and maybe become a channel member too if you want to help this elaborate post of a channel. So I have to go make more terrible financial decisions, so I'll see you all in the next video, and remember, when you play a Warhammer, being poor is a choice.